2 years ago, when the Kenya Morans were headed to the Afrobasket, the Kenya Morans played against the Ulinzi Warriors. They won that game 75-72. This was at the time Coach Liz Mills was still at the helm, and they had that roster that they used to manage. They managed to qualify for the Afrobasket, so early in February. So the thing that was an eyebrow raiser, especially when I mentioned this game, was how many points they conceded in that game. Because this game ended 75-72. They conceded 72 points to the Ulinzi Warriors while preparing for a major tournament like the Afrobasket, which was about a week away. And fast forward to today, the Kenya Morans, which is a team on the rebound after losing 6 straight games in the FIBA World Cup qualifiers, find themselves in the same situation. They hurriedly assembled a team. They didn't give a metric or criteria on how they selected the team or how they picked the team. They put their team together. They started training camp, matching them up against the Street League Select team. They won it. The Street League guys balled out. The final score was interesting. The Morans won that game 114-86, but conceding 86 points spoke volumes to how they went about on defense. I mean, it was atrocious on that side, but full credit to the Street League team. They came to ball out, but this is the first red flag I saw from the Morans team. But next up on the chopping block was a match against the South Sudanese players who are based in Kenya, and this game ended 65-42. And Kenya Morans, yet again, they won this game, and there are 2 in a row right now, especially in the lead up to going to Angola for the Afrocan. So this game ended 65-42. And the surprising thing is they were held to 65 points by the South Sudanese team, despite the blowout win. So these games, they have an intent of sparking confidence and team chemistry, but honestly, there's a long way to go. These outcomes tell us everything we need to know about what they're doing in training, preparation, and strategies towards how they're going about winning the basketball game. So the major question that I keep asking myself, should Kenyans still feel confident with their performance? Should the Kenyans who tuned in or even are going to the arenas feel confident on how they are going about winning those basketball games? So I just honestly see it as like a futile attempt to show like the Kenya Morans are really ready. But looking at the way they've been going out in the basketball game, it's just the same way that they're attacking it. The only difference is they're having different players and they don't have enough time for chemistry, because the way the team was assembled, as I said, it was just quickly. But everything will just reveal itself, especially when you go to Angola, because ball don't lie, especially on tip-off. But one thing that I made sure to highlight was the fact that Kenya is in Group A, slated to go up against Gabon and Zone 2+3 representatives. So in the lead up to like the Afrocan, there were games that were played in the qualifiers, so we'll get to know who's going to be slated there. But the only challenger, the only people that we're seeing, the only nation that is there that is just looking us straight in the face is Gabon. So the current iteration of the Kenya Morans that will still play this Afrocan in Angola is far removed from the team that won silver in 2019. So looking at what happened through the years, these results that the Kenya Morans have been putting up in FIBA contests, especially after that silver where they were supposedly at the top, are not that promising. So Gabon is a team that has played 4 games in the Afrocan qualifiers early this year, in March to be specific. They racked up quite a performance, finishing second behind Cameroon with a 3-1 record. Cameroon went unbeaten. And Cameroon was the team that handed Gabon their first loss, especially in the tournament. And it was a 9-point spread, so it was actually a very close game. So Gabon lost that game 71-80. But on the onset, Gabon was up to compete heavy with Cameroon. And Cameroon, considering the fact they were unbeaten, they had to make sure to put up a fight. So Gabon won against Chad in a clutch matchup, which is a 2-point spread, 54-52. Gabon again won against the Central African Republic, winning by 10 points, 67-57. Then in the final game that Gabon played, they destroyed Equatorial Guinea, 110-36. One of the largest win tallies I've seen in FIBA qualifiers history, African qualifiers history. I mean, this game ended 110-36. So the team from Gabon, they are not joking around. This game had me shook for a minute because it gave me flashbacks of what Senegal did to Kenya in game one of the AfroBasket qualifiers in late 2020. So the Gabon team finished that game on a high with a 3-game winning streak, and they're locked in there. Then we have our country on this side, in this corner, a team that has lost 6 straight in the FIBA World Cup qualifiers, and with the 2 wins in training camp, against the Street League Select team and the South Sudanese team, they're the only 2 wins that the basketball community is leaning on. So the last time the Kenya Morans won an actual FIBA game was way back in August 2021 against Mali. That's 2 years ago. That's the one and only win, and it was in the AfroBasket. So given the recent moves that the Kenya Morans have chosen, should we feel confident with the Kenya Morans Afrocan campaign in Angola with less than 2 weeks away? So, that's my big question. So the Kenya Morans with 2 wins at home under their belt, if the African games were held in Kenya, with Kenyan refs, will you go unbeaten all through? That's a question I even shared on my Twitter. So, like, share, subscribe to the channel. Please give me, or even type what you think in the comments section or down below on what you think. And yeah, man, I'm out. Peace.
If you had a chance to sit with the Cabinet Secretary of Sports Kenya, and together in that room there is the First Lady of Kenya, and they ask you what areas can we improve on as a nation in sports or in basketball, what will you tell them?
Well, first and foremost, administration of the sport is what's holding it back.
Mm-hmm.
So I would really encourage them to do a clean sweep of the Kenyan Federation and really start looking to elect people for these positions who are passionate about the development of basketball. They're not there for the power or prestige or the money. They're there to develop the game, and be that a 30-year-old or a 60-year-old, as long as male or female, diversity and inclusion is also important at the federation level. I also think experience matters.
Yeah.
Business experience, sports management experience, these things need to be considered when electing officials for the federation. And then, of course, it's about funding. You can't have national teams who cannot participate in tournaments because of lack of funding. We all know there's money in the country. So it's about a matter of priority. And lastly, youth development.